Welcome to the Master Dealmaker's Secrets podcast. And now, here's sales growth strategist, John Blake.
Welcome to Master Dealmaker Secrets. I'm John Blake. This is episode 41. And today we're going to be talking about, can salespeople be trained if they aren't particularly good salespeople, or are they born with an innate ability to be able to sell? So I'm really excited to be able to talk to you about this today. I am talking to you on this day just before the end of 2019. So a big, exciting time coming ahead leading into the new decade. But first, if you have got lead flow and you are looking to convert more of those leads, those organic leads that you've already got in your business, in your funnel, into paying clients, head over to johnblakeaudio.com and get your free rapid audio training where I show you the exact strategy that you can use to double your existing sales with the existing lead flow that you already have, the ones that you've already paid for. This is the same strategy that I teach my long-term 12-month clients. That gives them a really big win to start off with, and it'll give you consistent results when you implement it in your business. So head over to johnblakeaudio.com to download my rapid audio training, get the PDF companion guide. It's got the exact templates, cut and paste, straight into your email that you can send out to pursue clients in a way that will not annoy them. So it'll be professional, it'll be persistent, and it will increase your profits once you implement this in your business. johnblakeaudio.com. Okay, so this is a very highly debated question. Are salespeople born, or can they be created? Can you turn somebody who is not a salesperson into a good salesperson? That is the question. It's, as I said, hotly debated. You can look at all sorts of different forums and see people arguing and, I'm just born with it. Salespeople are born. No, you can't create a salesperson. So this is my experience. There are some people who are born with a predisposition for sales. You do often see sometimes the natural born salesperson. And often what that looks like is where you will ask somebody, to explain their process, and they won't be able to tell you. They'll sort of give you platitudes. They'll say things like, well, I just sort of ask people what they, give people what they need, things like that. That's the type of responses that you get. So there are certain people that are born with a predisposition for sales, and so I'm certainly not arguing that. The question is, can you teach somebody to sell who isn't already a great salesperson? And my answer is yes. I think that they do need to have some kind of predisposition, and within the topic or the term predisposition, I think you need to look at a willingness. They need to have a willingness to be able to want to do it. If someone doesn't want to do anything, if they don't want to become a great salesperson, then you'd be silly to try to teach them. But if someone does have a willingness and a little bit of a predisposition for it, then you can teach them to be a relatively good salesperson. If they have the wherewithal, the interest, the motivation to want to do it. So here's something that I don't often talk about. I've gone online and I've done these psychometric tests. There are some really good psychometric tests. I talk about it in my book, High Stakes Selling. But there's, you don't have to look too far to find the psychometric tests that will tell you, is somebody likely to become a good salesperson or not? And the truth is that when I go and do these psychometric tests, I actually tend to skew toward introvert. I am not what most people that interpret those tests would say would have a high predisposition for being a very successful salesperson. So, and it's kind of the reason why I set this business up. Like when I first started in sales, I didn't really have that much instruction, and I wanted to become the guy that I wish that I had met when I first started. So I tend to test pretty low in the psychometric test. So I've become, good at what I do through the study, through practicing, through teaching. I learn a lot through teaching and seeing how other people do with the strategies and things that I teach. And so I am really just somebody who had a willingness to do it, who sought the training and the instruction and the mentoring from people who had been there before. And that is essentially how I have been able to earn an excellent living in sales in all sorts of different forms, having my own business, running my own sales coaching business for the last 15 years. And that's how I've been able to do it. So yeah, you find someone with the right attitude, you find somebody who has a willingness to want to get better, and you give them the right training, like give them the right process to use, you're going to see a big spike in their performance. Will they become a world-class, top 5% type salesperson? Maybe not, but I tell you what, you'll get some great results out of them. So that was the point I wanted to make, and I guess I have a story to sort of illustrate this particular point. I was contacted by this guy who had been the top salesperson for a company that was selling mobile coffee franchises. So those mobile coffee vans that you see, where you can go and get a cup of coffee, and they can pull up outside of sporting events and bands and this was a particular company that sold these franchises, and this guy was their number one top salesperson, right? So he'd done really, really well, with this particular franchise, using the process that they had given him. Now, franchises, if they are successful, they are systemized, and they do have, scripts and processes and all of those type of things for everything. So for the making of the coffee, so if you look at McDonald's, they have standard operating procedures and training, video training for every single aspect of the business, from frying potatoes, so French fries, all the way to making coffee in their McCafes and all that sort of stuff. So this guy had been really successful using the process that they had given him to sell these coffee franchises. So he contacts me because he's now left that gig, and now he's selling advertising in hotel lobbies. So there's these interactive screens that the people who stay at the hotel can use to work out what they want to go and see. So all of the local restaurants and the bike hire companies and cafes have an opportunity to advertise on these particular screens. So this guy was now in charge of selling hotels these interactive screens. And he was really quite distressed because he had absolutely no idea how he was going to do it. So here's a guy that had been super successful, like the most highest paid, highest grossing in salesperson selling these coffee franchise, that were, I think they were maybe 20 or 30 grand a pop. And now he is absolutely at sea and has no idea how he's going to approach this new thing. So, so he wasn't this kind of natural born salesperson. He needed a system to do it. And that kind of made me think, wow, this guy's stressing out because even though he's been super successful selling this other thing, now he's got to sell this new thing, and he's got absolutely no way in his own mind on how he's going to do it. So that was what he came to talk to me about. And it really made me think, wow, okay, so, there really is this situation where if you put somebody who has the right attitude in front of the right system, they can get a predictable result. So I guess my my question to you is, what is it that you're doing to systemize your process? How carefully are you looking at your process for, how you engage people at the front end? And, I say that I look at, there can be anywhere from 6 to about 8 or 9 different leverage points, because different companies have different sales processes. So what you've got to look at is, what are the conversion rates from stage to stage? So what's your conversion rate from inquiry to first appointment? So what happens in that initial conversation, or what happens in that initial chat conversation on Facebook, or on Messenger, or what happens in that initial chat on email? How are you engaging people to even want to respond to your initial email when they submit an inquiry? All the way through to what happens in that initial conversation that converts somebody into that first appointment. Then what happens in that first appointment that converts people either into a sale or into the second appointment, where you go through your actual strategy or the actual plan or the quote that you're putting together for them. And then what happens, from a conversion perspective, when you actually show them that quote, so there are conversion rates that can happen at each stage of the process. And so that's what I would look at. I'd go, if you don't consider yourself a natural born salesperson, how can you get better? Well, you can get better by looking at your numbers and looking at your conversion rates from stage to stage in your own process. So I hope that is useful, and I will look forward to talking to you on the next podcast. Cheers.
You've been listening to Master Dealmaker's Secrets with John Blake. Subscribe to get more in-depth strategies to maximize your sales process with new episodes every week. And double your inquiry to sale conversion with the lead flow you already have. Go to johnblakeaudio.com for his exclusive free no-fluff audio training and companion PDF guide.